And good morning, everybody. What's going on?
Good morning.
This is weird. I haven't been here in a while.
Yeah, who are you?
I don't even know
Are
anymore.
you the other Mike?
I
Are you the other Mike?
I am now actually the other Mike. Now.
That's
Yeah,
what I meant.
I am actually the other Mike. So.
Yeah.
Did you have a good week?
It was a good week.
It was all right?
It's unfortunate there were some technical difficulties.
Yeah,
And,
but-
you start get going all
Yeah,
of a
it's your
sudden.
own damn
something
fault. I mean, I can't help you from the Bahamas, dude.
Why not?
happened. Well, hey, that's the way it goes. What
Acting
are
like
you
you
gonna
can't
do?
do
Huh?
I mean, it was Mike did a good job. I mean, I can't
Yeah,
say
he was
I didn't
good.
say he didn't do a good
Was
job.
very,
'Cause he did.
happy.
Yeah, he did a good job. Everything happened. We get going, all of a sudden something would break down or something wouldn't happen. Then we lose our
Right.
concentration. So
I think he did pretty good for not doing it.
Yeah. he did good.
Yeah. I actually got a chance to tune in a couple of times.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
And
you were texting him?
I was texting you because I missed you. I'm a grown man. If I miss another grown man because we're friends, then I can do that. Get off it. I missed you.
I missed you too, man. Yeah.
All right, yeah. Let's try to bump. Oh, here. Ready? This is a cruise one. Ready? Jellyfish. All right.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Seems a little out there, but all right.
Well, I was out there. It was beautiful, though. I
You know,
mean,
the thing was,
what's that?
I could see you on my map.
On your what?
I opened up on a, what do they call that? Instagram
Yeah.
map or something. I opened up by accident. one
Snap
day.
map, you mean?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there you were.
Somewhere in the Atlantic?
Yeah.
Did you go on the front of the ships and spread your arms like a bird?
Yeah.
You know what's funny? We did at the end.
Did you really?
Yeah, we did. Well, I did. I was like, yeah. Well, I was doing that right at the. You can't get to the very
Tip.
tip of the boat, but we're probably about 20 feet away from it.
Wonder why they have that blocked.
So people like Mike don't jump. Who said Mike don't
They
jump?
had a hot tub up there. They obviously was out of commission, but I think probably for safety reasons.
Yeah.
You know, because people just go whatever.
Was that a service for safety reasons?
Well, because it was so close to the front of the boat. I mean, you could have just jumped out and jumped out.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Poor design.
Yeah.
Especially with
They, yeah.
intoxicated patrons.
So we were on the Carnival of Vezenia, and it was party Italian style.
Oh, sweet.
And
Right.
yeah, and it was beautiful. The whole boat was beautiful. It was so much fun. And regardless of the boat, I'm happy about one big thing, and is that Melissa got to see dolphins.
Oh, that's
Really?
cool.
She was so all she wanted to see were dolphins. You know, She
Really?
could have cared less about the food or the entertainment or the or any of that kind of or the activities.
No whales.
No.
whales?
No. Dolphins.
Dolphins.
And I'm not kidding you. We were in our cabin and she's outside. And I'm not kidding you. She was like on a vigil every day outside on the balcony looking for dolphins.
Oh,
And I'm in the shower. Dolphins! and they're
was she
jumping.
looking-
And it
was
was.
she looking at you?
No, I was behind closed
Oh,
doors.
okay.
So
I wasn't sure.
no,
that would have been Orker.
You're fired.
Uh,
Oh my goodness. All right, so we'll talk about that another day. Today we have much more pressing topics to cover, and we all know that it is election season officially now, since both the Republican and the Democratic town committees have announced their candidates who that they are endorsing.
Yep.
For the election coming up. This year, we are going to have Tina Falk on in a couple of weeks, and today is a unique conversation, I think, because let's bring him on now. There he is. Hey, there he is. Good morning, Wayne.
Good morning, Mike.
So this is a unique situation, I feel, because I can't remember the last time that the incumbent was not nominated
Right.
by their own party. good, bad, or indifferent, that's how it happened.
Yeah.
And the Republican nominee, as you can see there on camera now, we just brought him in, Mr. Wayne Malin, who won the nomination for the Republican town committee or in the Republican Party in the town of Griswold. And today we're going to learn a little bit about Mr. Malin and find out what we're going to talk about. So, good morning, Wayne. How are you?
Good morning, Mike. I'm good.
So,
I'm very happy to be here and talk to you about who I am and what's going to happen.
So the first question that's already on the board that we can go ahead and I think very easily answer is there going to be a Republican primary? And the answer to that is yes.
Yep.
So
That's the
you want to
rumor.
explain? You want to explain how a primary happens, there, Rich?
Basically, since you're the incumbent for the Republican Town Committee, the people that want to run against you because they want to still run as a Republican representative have a chance to have a runoff and basically fight who the Republicans voted in to run for the first selectman seat and also the second selectman seat, I believe.
Yeah. So that question's from Victoria, and so there's going to be a primary. It's going to be
September 12th.
September 12th. It'll be yourself against the incumbent, which is Dana Bennett.
Yep.
And there's also going to be a runoff too for the second selectman spot,
My running mate, Martin McKenney,
right?
and Valerie Girls.
Valerie Grills, which I guess Richard Matters is out.
Yeah,
So
sounds
Richard
like
Matters, who's the current second selectman, is
off. It's going.
off the ticket altogether. So it'll be Dana and Valerie, and you yourself, Wayne, and Martin.
Yep.
So how do you feel going into a primary? I mean, this is really is this not your first election?
Yes, I've never ran for office before.
Okay.
I've been, so I'll get into my background. My background is 6 years Navy, ex-vet, nuclear Navy, stationed in Groton on a submarine. 37 years nuclear power, supervision for 23 years, working with people, all kinds of different groups, trying to resolve problems at Millstone Power Station. So that's pretty much my background, is solving problems. So that's the last couple of years, we've noticed that we have some problems. So, that's why I decided to jump in. I was asked by some of the RTC to run for First Selectman, and I'm jumping at the chance to try and help the town out. I've been here 35 years, so I thought I'd give back. I'm retiring November 1st.
And the election is November 2nd, 7th?
7th, yes.
Oh, so you get a little vacation,
Yeah,
maybe.
get a little break. But I'm actually leaving Millstone October 19th, but I got some vacation to burn. So I got a
So you
little
work for
break.
Dominion.
And I'm probably going to be spending most of my vacation running around saying hello to everybody if I win the primary.
Sure.
You're
So-
also in labor management too, right?
So I was also I started out at Kaneki Yankee, which was a unionized plant. So I've got some experience dealing with unions. I was a steward. So I got some experience with negotiations, arbitrations, that kind of stuff. So I know that's part of the business in this town. So I've got some experience there. But you're right. I'm not a politician. This is the first time. So I got fresh eyes looking at everything. I think that's a good thing sometimes. So.
Go ahead. I know you have a
So what are
series of
your
questions.
what do you consider your priorities that you want to deal with?
Priorities is I want to bring the town back together. There's been some issues with that. I want to work across party lines. I would say I'm very moderate. I'm not worried about far right, far left. I want to work in the middle, concentrate on fixing what we need to fix in Griswold. Sorry, had Millstone on my mind for a long time. And I'll get back to the town, see what they need to really just talk to people, see what they think the priorities are, what needs to happen.
You've talked to people already?
I've talked to some of my neighbors. I've talked to some other people that live in town. I know a lot of it is economic development to help with the tax base in the town and try to get that organized, help with that. That's pretty much it. Try to get some business here. I look at what Lisbon's doing. I see what Plainfield's doing, and we've really not done much.
Yeah, I mean, economic development, I mean, has been kind of a sore spot, for the recent future. I mean, the recent past, and it you can't really just. I mean, I can't blame it on just this administration. It's been kind of lingering for a little bit. I mean, there are a lot of things that have been tried. Nothing that has really kind of worked out. Paul, you're a member of the Economic Development Committee. I mean, what is something that you would ask about economic development? I'll just go ahead and ask you, what would you do, as far as economic development in the town of Griswold? I mean, do you have any kind of goals, any things that you want, any people you want to reach out to, or even, do you know of any businesses, that would be a perfect fit for this town that maybe we could go out and kind of romance a little bit and come here?
Do I? I do not. I have a lot of catching up to do. There was an individual that asked a question on my Facebook page about, I haven't been involved in a lot of meetings. I've been more involved with Board of Ed stuff.
Sure.
Because my wife's involved in that.
Yeah. Just happens to be the chair
right.
of the Board of Education.
That's correct. And the individual asked, so I haven't really seen yet any academic, meetings.
Sure.
Haven't seen yet any, so I've been to Board of Ed meetings. I've been to a Board of Finance meeting. That's when they were talking about the town and voting the town, voting the field and stuff like that. So I got a lot of catching up to do, and I got a group of individuals in the RTC that are helping me get through that. They've got a lot of experience. Rich is one of them. Martin has got a lot of experience in planning and zoning. So I'm going to lean on him, to get me up to speed. I've been reading through a lot of the minutes, a lot of the meetings in the last year to get caught up, see what's going on. I know there's a big project that needs to be done going down 164. That needs to be hashed out, figured out. So it's been lingering so long. I don't know what the cost of that is now. Maybe Paul does, but that's, when's your next meeting? I'll come to that.
Wednesday.
What time?
Wednesday night at 7.
7?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Until that infrastructure gets in, I think we're going to be, when that gets in, I think 164 now, a lot of open up what's going on down there, but I'm not even sure if it's even going up for bid yet. I haven't heard. I don't know. I haven't heard anything coming out of the town hall yet.
And I haven't heard anything myself either.
I think that's where a lot of the issues have been lying. We need some.
The one thing you're going to have to do is communicate. The one thing that doesn't seem to me to happen a lot is communication coming out of the town hall. Whether you have people, when you have people coming in or you don't have people coming in, you got to tell people at least something is happening. Now, I understand that there's some cases where people come in and they want to talk about doing business. You got to keep it quiet. But if they go away, you got to tell people what's happening. Keep everybody involved, because I think that's the biggest problem we have today is there's no communication.
Yeah.
I mean, in a lot of the meetings I've gone to EDC, I've asked them, communicate out. Tell the people what's going on with the infrastructure. No, we can't do that right now because we don't know what's happening. Well, what the hell's the difference? Tell people so they're aware of it.
Whether it's good, bad, and different, at least they know we're trying.
Right.
Yeah.
We're trying to do something.
That's a really good point. And I was just going to say that. I think one of the things that the town has been lacking has been communication. Yeah. And I'm speaking from a resident standpoint.
Yeah.
And I think pretty much any candidate right now would know that.
Yeah.
That it's very difficult to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
A lot of things are, and it's like, wait a minute, hold on, we're the one paying the taxes here.
Yeah.
Why are we not allowed to know? About these things.
Yeah. And I think a lot of business that come in, they go right to the town hall first. So the town hall is the first place economic development is going to start. It's going to start with the administration. It's going to be the town planner and the selectmen. They're the ones that are going to first hear about somebody that wants to come to town. Then the economic development team would take over and try to help us where they can. So that's the person in the town hall has to be the one to communicate with them, so that it draws them into town. Now, there's been business that has left, you know, and the other thing that we have a problem with is a lot of landowners expect a lot of money. I know the land on 164 next to the gas station. There was somebody interested in putting something in there. The landowner wanted big bucks for it, you know. So what did the person do? Said, bye-bye,
Yeah.
went to Lisbon.
It's got to be practical.
They went to Lisbon.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the other problem we have is I think everybody thinks that their land is gold, but what are you going to do? If they don't want to sell it, you can't do nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the other thing too, and Paul, you and I have talked about this for years, is that if they don't, until they put infrastructure in on 164, there's really not, you're not going to have any serious buyers coming in. And they should have built out 164 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And they never did it.
No.
You know, what would it be? Oh, maybe we would have Lisbon Landing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We, you know, and we may have been doing a lot better, and then no one would be bitching and moaning about a $3.8 million field, which is flipping gorgeous, by the way.
Absolutely.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is that, you know, it's like, Wayne, let me ask you this. I feel personally that you need to be more proactive than reactive. The town for many years, and I'm not picking on anybody because there have been good first selectmen and, you know, good administrations, not so good, not so good, whatever. What do you plan on doing, or do you have a plan in place as far as being proactive, you know, with communication and, you know, telling? I think it's important to tell people what, you know, the truth, whether it's what they want to hear or not. So, I mean, what is? I'll shut up. I'll let you answer that. How do you feel about, you know, like a proactive approach?
Going out and try and attract people to bring business in here is very important. That's not my forte. Something I'll have to learn to do.
I think one of the things you're going to have to learn to do is to communicate with the businesses coming in so that they feel welcome to come to town. And that's the thing they need to do, is to feel welcome.
Okay.
And you'll draw them in. If you don't communicate with them, then they're just going to go down the road.
Yeah. So Paul brings up a good point. Transparency, communication, letting people know what's going on in the town, get around the town, let people see you. You know, that's one of my things I plan on doing, is walking around the town, introducing myself, and get out there, get ideas from people. You know, I've got a good group of people working with me on this, and they've got experiences. We can go out and find out if there's anybody interested coming into Griswold for business, and then go from there.
See, that's a key point, I believe, because you can have somebody come in that has never had, you know, selectman experience, but if you put together a team around you, that's the most important. You look at any business, any business at all. You know, you've got a manager, and you've got to put good people around you, because that manager ain't squat unless you have a good team around you.
I think that's the key. Like, most good leaders have people that they know have experience in certain things that they don't.
Right.
And taking advantage of those resources that you have is something that needs to be
Correct.
done.
Right.
And, you know, it needs to be appreciated and needs to be put into effect, because not everybody knows everything.
That's true.
He has
That's a
certain
good point.
skills,
I think
assets that other people don't have.
I think that's part of the issue. Some of the people in the last few years have not been appreciated. I will say the borough. I plan on working on that relationship. It's not hard to say, you were there at the vote for the RTC. What did you see there?
Yeah.
There's pretty much a split.
How are you going to get the town?
So you're trying to get everybody together.
Yeah.
And, you know, don't care what party you're in. We got to get together, work through all the groups, your group, Rich's group, you know, planning and zoning, and move forward with the town. Not come into any kind of you know, nobody's going to agree with me all the time. You know, never did at Millstone either. So you just take what different aspects of what different people are saying, and because everybody's got a good point, everybody's got their point of view. Don't surround yourself with a bunch of yes men, because that's not going to work either.
No.
You got to have different points of view, and that's going to get Griswold where it needs to go.
The first thing you got to do is you got to convince the Republicans in town that you're the man.
Yep.
So what are you going to do to try to do that? We can understand what you want to do as far as the town goes, but now you got to convince the Republicans that you're the man to represent the Republicans. So what do you think you're going to do that? I mean, that's the first situation you got to get through, because keep in mind, folks, the only ones that can vote in this primary is Republicans.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have to go around, start knocking on doors, introduce myself, and say, "This is what I'm going to do. This is what I plan on doing. What do you think? What are you looking for?" So I've been here 35 years. I think Brian Lanou came up to me when he was running the first time and, talked to me. So it's,
He's a maniac.
Yeah.
He's an absolute, Brian, you're a maniac. Door knocking, sweating like somebody I've never seen sweat before in my life.
But that's
I
how
like Brian.
that's how he got in. That's how he got in.
That's how we got in. That's how we beat Steve. Steve
Correct.
Michael.
Now, I have never met you other than this morning. So there's a lot of people like me. I'm not a Republican, so I can't vote for you anyway. But there's a lot of people like me out there that, who is this guy? They know who Dana is, but they don't know who you are. So you're going to have to convince the Republicans in town, you're the man.
Yep. So, yeah, I got to get out. And I got a team that's going to support me. And I got to go do a lot of hustling to get out there and get people to believe in what I'm trying to put out there and get their vote. I got to earn it.
Victoria said Brian is the door master.
Yeah, he is. There's no doubt about that.
How do you feel about door knocking? Because for me, my own personal opinion is like, I don't think so. Because number one, I feel like I might get shot. And the other thing is that I think people are really nervous about opening their door.
This day and age, yes.
Yeah, especially post-COVID.
Well, they don't have to. I'll still leave the material on the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
If they don't want to talk, they don't have to talk.
Yeah.
But I'll leave the material and they can make up their mind. I know I'm not going to be walking around selling solar panels. So that's the other thing. People see somebody walking up to the door. It's like, oh, no, not another solar panel guy.
See, Brian Lanou, he'll knock on your door. He gets nothing. He goes over to the window. Hey, I see you in there. Come here, talk to me.
Yeah.
He wipes his forehead.
I mean, you got the restaurants downtown that you could walk into and introduce yourself. You got Dean's, you got Charlene's.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, isn't there something coming up at the park?
Spooktopia?
Yeah. When's that?
I think that's too late.
Oh, is it?
That's after the
That's
Oh,
primary.
it's after?
That'll be right before.
I mean, I don't know if there's anything coming up before that.
Which is another thing.
So,
There's nothing coming up.
and I mean,
There's some things. There's plan, being a vet. I plan on going to VFW and
Yeah, VFW's got dinners
Senior
going on.
center.
that kind of stuff. So
Breakfast is going on. So,
The senior center's a big one too.
I understand.
senior
that.
center. So those are the places you probably should visit as far as to
If
introduce
there's
you.
something going on,
Wayne Malin's going to be there.
my posse's going to let me know. So.
Whoa, posse. We're talking posse now. Uh-oh. It's on. Let's see. Erica says you need a giant magnet on your car identifying yourself.
I know where that's coming from. Sorry, Erica, no comment on that one.
Scott Fryer says people are going to think you're a solar salesman. And Victoria says door knocking does make a big difference.
Yep.
Because I think it does because it's one-on-one.
Yeah, I never understood the door knocking. I wouldn't answer the door. I did door knocking once.
Did you?
Yeah, and when I was running RTM in Groton, I'm like, I had a lot of doors slammed in my face. People didn't want to talk to me. But maybe that was just back then. But I don't know.
That's their right. They can do whatever
Yeah.
they want. It's their door.
Yeah.
If they want to open the door and talk, right?
I mean,
If they don't,
to me, it was always like, oh, why am I doing this?
I got to make an
I
effort.
don't know. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you're the new person on the block.
And the new
So
person,
Yeah.
so you have to
And-
be the one to do all the work.
like you said, and some other people haven't been involved in meetings, so not too many people in the groups, the boards know who I am.
Exactly.
So I got to get out there, but I don't think not too many people knew about Dana 2 years ago.
I guess
So-
the big question is, why don't they know who you are? Why weren't you at any of this stuff?
Well, working nuclear power plant requires a lot of different hours. I was a maintenance supervisor on evenings for 5 years. So it tied me up. We work nights, work long hours. You know, now finishing up, I'm getting up at 3:45 in the morning, and you know, so going to a 7 o'clock meeting at night, I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's been tough. But now that I'm retiring, and it's time for me to give back to the town, do something, move us forward.
Yeah. Well, the one advantage you're going to have is that you're doing all this preliminary campaigning as a person in a primary. If you win the primary, you're already ahead of the game because you've already started. You're already out there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You've already introduced yourself to a lot of the Republicans, so you'll have to introduce yourself now to the other side. The rest of the people in the town. So,
So we had this borough situation,
yeah.
the town. So
And him and I both live in the borough. Well,
Yeah.
and you were well, you know, you. don't
I'm
count.
just outside.
You're just
Just
outside.
outside.
We actually live in the
you
borough.
can spit and hit the borough.
Yeah.
Actually, your house is in our first district for the Jewish City Fire Department, I believe.
Yes, we are.
So the borough actually extends farther, not politically, but actually, like
Yeah.
tax and money spent from the borough taxes as well.
Yeah.
Way past the borough, believe it or not.
Yeah, we actually have a hydrant
But yeah,
up there.
so this whole borough situation you're familiar with, right? So
Yes, I am.
what do you think about it?
I think.
Give us your thoughts on what happened between the town and the borough in the last year.
I don't think the plan to incorporate the borough in the town was not communicated very well. I understand why, because the individual doing that's the way she is, I guess. I think that's the way she's built.
You're talking about the current first
current
selectman.
first selectman.
Okay.
You know, she's. I think if she would have had some meetings, preliminary meetings, discuss what her plan was, have them mull it over, think about it, you know, come up with the cons and the pros, you know, and see how it was going to benefit everybody. You know, probably would have worked out better.
Okay.
Now we have a situation where we've got the borough. Well, I understand they feel like they're second-class citizens because of what happened, and that's not where we want to be.
So I can tell you how I personally feel. I've lived in the borough pretty much my entire life, probably 52 out of 57 years. So
You're that old?
yeah,
You're that old?
Huh.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's nothing. I got
Dude, you used to come to. I used to play baseball with your kid. You know, we used to come to the games.
Baseball was baseball.
Yes, baseball been very, very good to me. So, as a borough resident, when I started hearing this, I'm like, why? What is this? You know, if copy paper is that expensive, I'll write a check. Here you go, buy the copy paper. I don't care. You know, and then you go like. Then it's like, okay, is this a Republican Democrat thing or is this a borough town thing? And I'll be honest with you, I think the borough government is awesome. I mean, I'm a big fan of Tim Sharkey, big fan of Lori Sorter. Him? No, I don't care.
No, the other one, the better half.
Huh?
The better half.
Oh, Kathy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't forget her. I don't want you to forget about her because you'll hear about it.
No, I'm not mentioning. Yeah. But I am. I'm a fan of the borough government. I think they care, and I don't really think it's. I don't think being whatever party. And I like what you said. You said working across the aisle, party lines doesn't matter. We are in a unique situation, I think, in this election because we could have a Republican. Forget the order of seats. A Republican, a Democrat, and an independent, all on the board at the same time.
Yeah.
So one of the things is like, and I'm getting to a long, round the way question. We haven't had, huh?
There is a question.
There is a question.
Oh,
For the longest time, everything's been party lines. Whether it was the Board of Finance, when they were trying to elect a new member one time a few years back. Party lines, they couldn't even come to an agreement.
They're kind of like in that situation now.
Right.
Alex leaving.
Right, exactly. Board of Selectmen. That's either it was with school check and in Martin McKinney, it was controlled by the Republicans. There's party lines there. Then the Democrats. Now there's nothing. There's a possibility that there's not going to be any kind of party line whatsoever on the Board of Selectmen. So the question is are you a fan or are you not a fan of extending the board to 5 members?
I haven't given that much thought. I know there's been some talk about town manager and expanding the board to 5. And the town manager brings somebody in that's going to be there constantly, basically a career type of thing. So you got a constant person that's involved in what's going on with the town. Then you got the selectmen that can make the decisions based on their discussions, what they get from the other boards. And I think the more people you have involved, I think it's better off. You're better off. I understand, this is not a part-time job as some people think it is,
Yeah.
And
it is a full-time gig.
it is. And I'm not in it for the money. I don't need the money, really. I got a pension. I got a 401k. I'm doing it because I want to see the town go forward and get better. And I really want to see some of these projects that have been sitting there finish off so we can bring business in here and fix the taxes.
So with that being said, being a full-time job, and I know you stated that, it's not about the money, but do you think that the salary should be raised to something that's a little more commensurate? Because all the other towns that are around us, Plainfield, Kevin Cunningham, he's around 75, 80, right around that way. Tom Sparkman, every town makes more than a Griswold First Selectman. I think except for Voluntown, because that really is part-time. Because it's like 12 people in Voluntown. But
I think eventually,
and
I think I don't know what the other selectmen make. It's not a lot.
No.
They should probably be making some more too, but that's not really something I'm going to tackle right now. I'm not worried about it. Maybe.
But what I'm saying, I guess, is do you think that
if you made more money, if you offered more money out there, you would probably get more people interested in doing the job.
Yeah.
Instead of some 64-year-old guy just retiring.
No, I think you're right.
Because
it makes some useful some young guy to come in at a reasonable salary. Then why not?
Yeah. Like me, I asked 2 years ago, somebody asked, why don't you run? I think it was more in jest than anything.
Yeah.
And I thought about it. I'm like, no. Why? Because I couldn't live on it. There's no way.
Yeah.
So, could you? No.
If I retired, I could.
But that's the key. If you
I
retire.
don't think the selectmen jobs, when they were created back in the day, I don't know, was it early 1900s, I think? Real early 1900s.
Really?
It was not considered a full-time job because you didn't have the business to worry about. You didn't have the infrastructure to worry about. You didn't have the people in the towns to have to consider. And times have changed. And I mentioned this the other night at a meeting. I think it was the borough meeting. The town has to come up to the times.
Yeah.
They cannot keep living back in the small town era. It's not a small town anymore. It's not.
No.
You have to run it like a business. You have to run it like it's a large corporation. You can't keep doing that.
Yeah.
Like, you realize that the argument was the borough warden we had to raise the money that he could spend on his own.
Yeah.
Someone wanted to keep it at $1,000 without getting the board's approval. That's all he could spend. The fire chief could only we had to raise his amount of money that he could spend. But he could spend only I think it was $100 a month without getting the company's approval. You can't run a corporation or a business that way. They have to be able to go out and spend some money to keep the business running. Otherwise, you're going to have what's going on. You're going to have failure. You're going to have nothing. Yep. And I think that's one of the things you have to consider is we have to run it like it's today, not yesterday. Right? That's not, we got to think of the future. But
I think part of fixing that is part of fixing the tax base, because if you raise everybody's salary, then, that's part of the tax issue. But if we earn our keep and we work with Paul's group and your group and we move the town forward, we get business in here and we fix the tax base problem, then we can talk about salaries and increasing that for these kind of positions.
So how would you communicate with all the different groups? What do you think would be the best way to do that?
Be there. I think be there. I don't think you can be there at every meeting, but you can at least be there and have some, talk to the board chairs a lot, see what's going on. Show your face. I know a lot of people have told me they don't even know who the first selectman is in this town.
Oh,
so
Borough meeting was that?
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah, when we had the vote on the borough hall, whatever they're gonna call it now.
yeah. I knew who she was because she was on our safety committee. So she was on a couple committees in town prior to becoming first selectman.
That was before I was on the safety committee.
Yeah, this
right?
is long before. This was like several years ago.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a real tough question. This is going to be tough.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Can I put my sunglasses on?
No.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, you should do that. Or put the sunglasses on, get a photo like this, and go, "I'm Wayne. I'm the new first selectman." That'd be kind of like funny, wouldn't it?
We all know what happened
Assume.
a few years ago with Tina running the senior center and the town selectman being Todd. There was a lot of conflict there that Todd was giving something to the senior center because his wife was part of some board. Now we're putting you in a situation where your wife is chairman of the board of ed and you being selectman. How are we going to
First selectman.
First selectman, right? How are we going to keep conflict going on and having you kind of maybe excuse yourself, or how the hell would you handle that? I mean, it's a pretty tough
There might be
situation
some-
because we all know a lot of people don't like when the board of ed starts asking for all this money,
A lot of recruits.
And the field was, and we all know the field was a big issue.
Is that what you're asking?
So are you going to keep it
Right.
calm at home, or what's going to happen?
It's
It's a tough situation.
So, honestly, the wife and I have discussed this. I'm keeping my hands off the school business. I know I have to get involved with the finances and the budgets and all like that. I know Sean McKenna very well. I've met him several times. He has all my respect. He's a great superintendent. Her business is her business, and the school runs, through her and Sean and the Board of Ed.
Yep.
And leave that be. But when it comes down to the budget, I am pro school. I think we got a great layout over there. I think it's a great system, and I think it's what they're doing over there is the kids are future. Kids are our future. So I don't know anything about the school business. I'll let them do what they got to do. My focus is the town business and working with you, Paul, even though you're not a Republican. And,
That's his way of saying
There
you
you go.
suck.
and I'm sure you got a lot of good ideas, and everybody else on your board's got good ideas. See where we're stuck in the mud in some areas and try and get through it and fix it. And get that sewer line and water line across the highway there, down 164.
That is so important.
Yeah,
So
I
important.
think it was looked at when it was thought about, and I wasn't actually 100% on the committee of anything in the Republican Town Committee because I was working. But I think that was looked at as they're spoken to people at the state. Is this the best way to meld our ticket, kind of? And it was found that there is no conflict legally.
But I don't think there's an ethics issue. I just think I just think you have to be.
It's a good question.
Yeah,
Because I
it's a
think
great
people are
question.
going to look
People
at
have
it.
Yeah.
I mean, we
People
all
have
know
it.
what happened with Todd and Tina because of the senior center.
Yeah, but hold up. They I think whenever we saw meetings, first of all, what happens behind closed doors, what they talk about is none of our damn business,
I don't
right?
disagree.
Right. But what I'm saying is that during a public meeting,
Yep.
anytime, and I've seen this, I saw it many, many times, that if there was some senior center business that came up, Todd would recuse himself and he would walk out of the room, and Tina did the same thing. So, so I feel that they have set a good example as far as how that should should operate.
I don't disagree with
Right.
you. Unfortunately, it's the perception of the people that are outside that don't see this, and they say, "Oh, look what happened
Yeah,
here."
perceptions.
You know,
Right, but those
that's
are the
what I'm-
uneducated voters.
those are the unshaded voters that making all the noise.
But I think
well,
that's
maybe
where
they should become educated.
that's where the
Yeah.
education comes in, like you said. That's door knock.
Well,
talking to
that's
people.
why I brought the question
Yeah,
up,
no,
because the
right,
people
right,
are going to
yeah.
say, "What?"
Yeah, it was thought about. And actually,
Yep.
the two of them brought it up.
Okay.
Yeah, we.
But I think the large part is also the first selectman and the board of selectmen.
we're farther.
There is a
distance
checks and
away.
balance system in place, and the
Yep.
board of finance
Okay.
creates the budget, and they just vote.
It's a different business. It's really a
Well,
totally different structure.
And I think that's where the education of government comes in.
I didn't
That's
bring
where
it up to say that nobody followed
Right,
those.
no,
I brought it up
yeah.
because
it needs to be talked
if you
about.
read Griswold now and all the other outside
Yeah.
social media things,
See, that's the first problem.
that's the
Now.
biggest problem. You got the people who
Yeah.
don't know their butt from their head.
They don't.
Not being clean.
Their ass from their elbow, you mean?
Pretty
Manny
much.
looks at me.
Uh,
Manny looks at me.
Sorry.
And they make all these comments, and then people read those comments. Oh, yeah, okay. I mean, I've seen it. So I'm just bringing that topic
But
up.
also, when people go out and talk, not even just you, but everybody is. There's only a certain amount of people that can get involved,
Yeah.
or not
Are
can,
get-
but
are
are
getting
involved,
involved,
are
yes.
getting involved, and you run out of people.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of the same people. Like, how many boards are you and I on? You know.
Yeah.
So you're gonna run out until those same people have to be the ones that are filling the hole, or otherwise people need to get out of the seat. And,
I don't disagree. Yeah.
yeah, but there is no real conflict of interest when it comes down to certain things. And I did the same thing in Montville when I was on boards and commissions. Is I had to recuse myself when I was on the public safety commission. I couldn't vote on Oakdale Fire Department's budget because I was one of the officers. So I
Yeah.
recused myself, and
Yeah, I didn't bring it up because of I brought it up because the outside people
No,
looking in.
it's-
No, dude,
Good question.
whatever
That's
you
fine.
whatever you brought it up, it's a good question. It was a good point.
Yeah.
So, Kathy says, in a small town with lack of volunteers, it'll be difficult not to have couples on different boards.
Oh, I agree.
Transparency and
Yeah.
checks and balances will need to be a priority to ensure integrity. All right. So, and this is, I'm so used to people getting pissed off at what I say, so I'm just going to say it. We're talking about, possible, how will the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Education form their business within the town with a husband and wife team? Well, I think that's something that's even closer is Stu Norman on the Board of Ed and his wife on the Board of Finance. I think that's a little closer, actually, because the Board of Ed,
Another couple too like that.
yeah, so I think that's actually a closer
Yeah.
relationship town-wise than First Selectman and Board of Ed chair, because
Yeah.
they're really separate entities
And I think a lot
and
of
need to be
I
separate
think a lot of
entities.
people don't realize that because a lot of people don't pay attention to the individuals on the. They look at the selectmen, they look at who's in charge of the board. That's what people look at. They don't look at the individuals on the team.
And I'm not picking on
I know you're
Gail,
not-
and
I
I'm
know
not
you're
picking
not.
on Stu,
I'm just-
or
no.
suggesting they're doing anything
No.
unethical, because they're not. But I'm just saying, I think the two boards they work closer together,
Yeah.
more so than the BOS and the BOE. So.
I mean,
The
that's just
only-
something you're going to have to think about.
Well, the only thing that I would probably go, I'll go see the school, and I'll talk to Sean and see what help he might need. But I'm not going to get involved in their business. It's like any other business around here. You walk around the town and you go see the school and see, I've gone to some of their Board of Ed meetings, and when they proposed the field at the Board of Finance meeting last December, I believe it was, Dana was there, and the field turf was there, and Sean was there presenting that to the Board of Finance. And that would have been a good opportunity for the First Selectman to say, we're going to do whatever we can to get that field done.
Right. I personally, I'm glad it happened. So.
And I was waiting for that while I was sitting there. I was waiting for that, and it didn't happen. So, and if you knew the condition of that field, you knew that it had to be done.
I know we used to walk around it and people would trip and fall. And it was more of a liability.
And you're thinking your kids are playing on that field. So
I think that's a lot of people need to start looking at some stuff in town as well, that some things need to be fixed. It's going to cost money. And because the cost of paying for that liability afterwards when the problem already happens is going to be a lot more than fixing the problem ahead of time. So let's say all that is you need to spend money to make money.
Oh,
I will tell you, because of my conflict.
I'm not saying it's a
That-
conflict. I'm just saying something you got to be
That's
aware
okay.
of.
That's okay, Paul. You didn't.
You know Mary
didn't
Beth?
push a button.
No.
We don't
I
always-
will say that
We don't always agree.
when they announced that field was done and that's built, they're getting a lot of tuition students coming in, and that's
Yeah, they've already got
a
more
good
than
chunk
they've
of
had in the
change
past.
coming to the school
Yeah.
and the town.
Yeah.
So that's a big plus for everything, for the
Mhm.
kids having a playing facility that's professional looking and safe. And I know some people have a problem with turf, that, there's supposedly some injuries with turf and stuff like that. But
There's injuries on
there's
regular
injuries
grass
on regular
too,
grass
so.
too. I used to play football in high school.
Yeah.
And football's just tough. It's rough. My son played too. He got injured too. So that's just the sport in itself.
So you talk about more sending town kids coming into Griswold, right?
Right.
And we're not talking about just we're talking alternative school kids too,
Yes.
that are coming into town.
With the new facility that's going through the process right now, right?
Exactly. And one of the things is that I don't think people have really talked about a lot. We hear about, kids are coming in. What about the kids that are coming back?
There are some of that.
Right. And I know of one, and I'm not going to say their name because it's not relevant, but there's somebody that I know of who just speaks through broadcasting, that they're coming back to Griswold. So you look at it from a business standpoint, there's X amount of dollars that we pay out, to a school like Killingly, for example.
Yep.
For a child to go to that high school. Well, it's a net gain when that child comes back, because now we're not paying.
Yep.
That's money that stays here. So that's just as good as, when you look at the checks and balances, if you're doing like a profit and loss statement.
Yep.
That's money that just stays here. So that's just as good as anything.
That and
So-
the doors to competitions statewide coming in here
Yeah.
now versus before, where they weren't. Make money that way too. Get the name out there. Like, where's Griswold?
Right.
Before I moved
right.
here, I thought
Yep.
Griswold was another part, like different section.
Yeah, and when I was growing up, we didn't have all of this sending town stuff, that kind of business model. We didn't have ag programs, like that Ledger has and Killingly has. So all we had to worry about were tech schools, but it didn't matter because those were state schools, so it didn't really much matter. Now it's a big part of the business. So the kids stayed here because really that was the choice. We had such a pool of athletes back in the 70s and the 80s. And Griswold was winning everything. There are some kids here that can play. And it's, so if they're playing here, what's that going to do for attendance? Snack bar sales. I know it sounds ridiculous, but that adds up.
Well, I
Pretty
think
quick.
the way that looks right now, facility looks right now, you're going to see the attendance go through the roof.
I do too. Back in the day, I can remember my dad taking me to a high school basketball game at Griswold High School, which used to be in the middle school, which is now the middle school. You'd go there and you'd watch just the warm-ups. We're talking Rick Aramoni, Greg Hoddy, Archie Troviak. I'm talking well before Bo Gear, came in and ruled the town, with sports. He was an incredible athlete himself.
I saw him play. Years, yes.
So, but I'm talking about back in 78, 77. It was like going to an NBA game. The place was crammed. You could not get in there. And just during the warm-ups, when they were doing their layups, you hear, whoa, because you would think they were going to dunk. But it was everything, whether it was baseball, basketball.
Well, this last year with the basketball team.
Yeah. Incredible team,
Yeah,
with
it
the
was
8
incredible
seniors
team.
and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
and the Griswold football team, you're gonna. I'm telling you, I said this last year. We're gonna have at least 5 good years of Griswold football. with the kids that are coming through the system right now, and they're going to stay, and that's all because of this field, and the facility.
Yep.
There was always been said, Paul. I know I've said it a million times, right? It's the best place ever to watch a football game because of the stadium seating. But the
It's
worst
even better with
Yeah.
the way the lighting's set up now.
That's true, and you don't have to worry about
Right.
looking around the
The view.
50-yard line.
Yeah.
But it was the worst place to play. You want to talk about kids getting hurt?
Yeah.
Now look at this thing. It's going to be. You're going to go to a football game. You're going to like it. You're going to show up now just because you're interested.
Well, the football field, whatever. It's over. It's here. It's done. You know how I felt about it. And I think a lot of other people felt the same way I did
There are.
because of the closeness of the vote.
Yeah.
It's here. Water over the dam. I'm not going to worry about it.
Right.
It's here.
It's here. It's going to stay.
I personally think they didn't go far enough.
As far as what?
As far as I was concerned, I think they should have did the bathrooms. So
They
now-
talked about that. That's
I
actually
think
was
that
part of
should
the
have
long-term plan.
that should have been done at the same
So,
time. Do it right the
think
first time
There was
and get it
a
over with.
reason they couldn't.
It's the way they had to get the
Water.
there was
Plumbing.
the money was part of it. It was where the discharge has to go.
Yeah.
Had to get pumped up. So all that was, I forget what Sean and my wife were talking about, how much that was going to be. She could probably text it into you if she's listening.
She's there.
But yeah, it was a significant amount of change. They're worried about getting just what we had passed.
Yeah.
So
And
I think that's the next step. That
like
and the
a
baseball
long-term
field
plan,
and
right?
that kind of stuff. The baseball field needs some work. So there's plans, but that's going to progress down the road.
Donna says prime rib dinner tonight at the VFW on Taylor Hill, starting at 6. However, meals are sold out. Why are we talking about this?
For him to show up and introduce himself.
Yeah,
That's
when
fine.
they talked about going
See, now you know why I put it up on the board.
What day did you say?
there.
Is that tonight? 6?
I think they have one every Friday, right?
I
Yeah, they have one every
I think
Friday
it's
night, I
right.
think, yeah.
I mean,
I've already got a prior
so-
commitment,
yeah,
but if
there's
they
a
got
good
one
one.
next Friday, I can probably make that one.
Mary Beth says 1.5 million.
Oh.
Bathrooms and new concessions.
Yeah, so I knew that was part of the reason in the committee we were talking about. But it's one of the long-term plans from a study they did years ago. So
well, maybe in,
Donna says thank you, Paul.
who said that?
Donna, that was the VFW comment. I was like, why are we talking about this?
I'll be getting there. We already penciled in September 1st. I guess there's sing-along bingo night or something like that, September 1st.
Where's
yeah,
that?
I'm singing.
That's at the VFW, from what I understand.
You're going to be there? Come on.
When night is it again? Friday.
Yeah.
So,
When night is it?
Friday is, September 1st.
The
Friday
singing
night.
thing.
Yeah.
Where I can do karaoke.
You don't have to sing. But,
so one of the. Oh, go ahead.
but you should dance with your wife.
She loves dancing. Yeah.
There's a one of the things that was kind of a sore spot with a lot of people in town. This is really the last question I have for you. I mean, there'll be a ton after you leave, but we had an opportunity to get to bring data centers into town, and there was a lot of hubbub about well, it's too noisy or this, that, or Paul actually did some research and called some towns and spoke to some town governments that have, well, Paul,
Yeah, these were mostly out west. And I did contact them because one of the biggest problems was noise. Now one person complained about noise because they're pretty much set off by themselves. There's no impact to the town whatsoever because they're self-efficient. No town services. We would have made money, but everybody complained about noise. I mean, yeah, maybe you got to start up a generator in the morning to make sure it's running. They have to do that to test it. But other than
They
that,
have generator enclosures
yeah, they do.
that can you can barely hear the things running. All right.
That's unfortunately there are some people that did complain.
Sometimes you have to look at the big picture. and do a little research like you did to find out, is it really a problem or not, instead
Right.
of just making a snap decision saying, I'm worried about the noise. I don't know. I'm not familiar where the site was, but I heard it was like almost in the middle of nowhere.
You mean in
Is that
Griswold?
true? Yeah. the
Barber
Griswold
Road was
Barber
one
Road.
of them,
Bubba Road.
Yeah.
off of 164.
That was one of them. There's like 4 or 5 sites. But they're doing it.
201.
Yeah.
The Polinsky. What the hell was that? Polinsky's farm.
So you know where that data center is going now, don't you?
Nowhere.
Killingly.
Well, it's Killingly. I
Right.
also know it was going to Waterford, right on Millstone site.
I'm not sure if they can go to Killingly because it has to be a municipality.
I'm told it's a done deal.
Is it Killingly?
Guess who didn't get it?
No.
Griswold.
No.
That would have been a big influx
Yeah.
of
Well,
tax dollars.
Not only for dollars for the town,
Yeah.
but for Jewett City Electric.
Yeah.
That would have been an amazing amount of money coming into Jewett City Electric that would keep our rates in the borough pretty much low because of the amount of money they would have got. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. I know there was problems with the administration, with the group that originally brought it in. There was some conflict with the inner of the data centers, but I'm not sure why they disappeared. I don't know.
I don't know. You know, I've said this before, Paul, is that shit rolls downhill, right? So who's not bringing in the money?
My thing is economic.
Is it the EDC? You know, or do we blame the first First Selectman in that office? Who do you
Everything funnels through the
But
town hall
I think the key
first.
thing is you just said you don't know why they didn't come in.
I don't know.
And as an economic
I don't know.
development, I think
Well, I
they
think
should be
because-
given a report as to why they did not come in.
Well, one
you
thing
can
I
fix
heard
it.
was that the infrastructure wasn't in, and they were originally going to build a water tower, but
Yeah.
the water tower went up to $6.5 million. They said we're not paying for that. They were going to put the water tower in was $1.5 million.
But you don't know because there's no communication as to why they didn't come in. So how
Right.
can you fix the problem when you don't know what the problem is? It's a big,
But it
big
was
circle.
everything. When business come in, they go to the town hall first. They're not going to come to me, Tom Q. Harry, who's a resident.
Mhm.
They're going to go to the town hall and the town planner. What do you have available in town that I could put a business in? That's the first place they're going to go. And that's where you have to have somebody in there that's welcoming them in and explaining what we have.
Well, I can tell you, when I'm planning a zoning right now as an alternate for now.
Yeah.
I'm not rerunning.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying this because I'm rerunning, because I'm not.
Yeah.
The head of that department who reports to planning and zoning, we get an email at least 2 to 3 times a week of what's going on.
Yeah.
Is there an issue? What's being handled? This and that. That's the way it should run.
Yep.
And that needs to take place because you can't run an organization without communication. That's it.
I agree.
You can't fix the problem of economic development if you don't know why they're not coming in. Right?
And if you don't explain things, then rumors float around.
Well, that's what
and
happens,
The
and-
truth isn't out there, so people make up the truth, and it doesn't help either way if you don't explain. So this decision why we didn't do it. And if you're on the selectman's board and you're part of that decision, you see we made the decision based on this.
And that's all you got to tell people. You don't have to tell them,
People are saying it's hard to hear Rich. So I keep moving the microphone in front of your face.
It's probably a
You-
good
then
thing.
you start moving over there.
It's
and-
probably a good thing.
Ah.
But
The data center said that they would have funded the infrastructure. What happened to that plan? Well, the water
I
tower
think
line.
it was the water tower I thought was $1.5 million they were going to pay for, but then it went to $6.5 million because of everything went up.
that's a big jump.
That's a big jump. Matter of
Almost
fact,
sounds
we're
like
still
there's
trying to
more
figure
it.
out. I think that's what the grant is for. They got a grant out there now trying to pay for that.
Almost sounds like too much of a jump. Like there was a problem. That's a bigger
Yeah.
problem than that.
That's those
Well,
grants. that are out
materials
there.
is skyrocketing because
Well, that
that
was
was
the
the same thing
problem.
with the field going up. We had to get the field approved by a certain date or it was
Right.
going to jump up and
Right.
cost more money. So that
Yeah, the
had to
bid
get
was-
hurried through. And a lot of people are complaining, well, we're hurrying this through. Well, there was a reason for that
Yeah.
because we're trying to keep the costs low. Field turf was pretty transparent about, need to get this to us by this. We need the contract
Right.
by here. Otherwise, we're going to have to charge you more because
they had to go out and buy supplies for.
Right. Their materials are going up.
That's the same thing that happened with the senior center, same thing, but they kind of were able to keep them intact a little bit, to keep the cost down. But with this thing here, because it was so delayed, waiting for all the grants to come in, it never got started yet. And guess what?
Yes.
Everything went up. So now the cost is like unbelievable. So I don't know what the hell the final cost is going to be. I don't even know if it went out for bid yet.
I don't know. If you ask me though, I think the data centers use us as pawns to cut deals with
That's
the towns.
possible too. I mean, it sounded good when they first came in. That's for sure. I was.
But
all
we need
for
to
it.
know that.
That's just my assumption. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no scientific fact behind that, but I think they use us as pawns to cut deals with.
So I will tell you that an individual on my posse said that was ready to go.
Yeah, I heard that too. I heard it was a done deal pretty much.
It was pretty much done. Just need a signature. And if I'm wrong, they can text in and say, you're wrong. But I think it was that close to being, signed and sealed and delivered. So
I had heard the same thing. Well, it's going to be an interesting election season, regardless of what happens. I think that the town really is in a good position because I know, and I've said it a bunch of times. I think we're in a good position to have a diversified board this time around. Something that we really haven't had.
Yep.
We really haven't had any diversification. I'm talking about 3 different parties being represented. So, and I think it makes it imperative at that point for people to work together and cross party lines, so to speak, really just to get the job done for the town.
And I'll say also, being on a lot of them, you go to a lot of these committee meetings when the work is being done. Most of the time, if not all the time, you don't even know what party when you're working with them, what they're in most cases, which is a good thing. That's, because I think when it comes to politicking, that's everybody knows. But when it comes to doing the work on a lot of the committees, at least from one of my experience on most of them, is I couldn't even tell you what party people are.
Well, you see, that's where committees should generate a 6-month report or quarterly report to what they're working on and what's happening.
Yep.
And they don't.
Yeah.
They keep it quiet. We at safety, what do? We
dump the email to everybody. This is what we've done. This is what we're working on.
we keep a list of everything we've done over the last session that we've had, and we send it to people to show what we have accomplished over this 9-month period that we worked.
I think one of the greatest things we created was the health and the
Safety committee in the town hall.
And then we ended up saving the town a lot of money because who came in to do an audit?
Yeah.
OSHA.
OSHA.
If we hadn't pushed that whole, you got to reinvent your town committee, safety committee, the town would have been paying a lot more money.
Yeah,
Exactly.
oh, it's important.
Yeah.
We've dealt with OSHA at Millstone also.
Yeah.
So it's an industrial facility.
Yeah, because we don't know half the things that committees do.
No.
What they're working on.
You look at the short-term rental between planning and zoning and ordinance committee. They've been fighting that battle for a while now. And both committees are like, oh, what's the other committee doing? What do they have right now? And you got to have more communication. I think that's everything that we've been talking about, communication.
So what I want to do is I want to give the floor to Wayne for a second and just take 30 seconds and tell, because people are listening and watching now, but what will happen is throughout the day, more and more and more and more.
Okay.
Because one thing that I've found out, we've talked about it, Paul and I have talked about it, just when you think nobody's listening, everybody's listening. Because we'll hear stuff, out in the town, like, well, I heard you said that, or you said that. It's like, well, how come I didn't even, whatever.
Even if you didn't say it.
Even if you didn't say it. But take 30 seconds, 1 minute, totally up to you. Why do we vote for Wayne Malin during the primary for First Selectman?
Well, I think you vote for Wayne Malin because he's going to be transparent. He's going to be communicating. He's going to work with the town. He's going to work with the borough, trying to repair some relationships that I think have had some issues in the last couple of years. You're going to vote for Wayne Malin because he's going to work bringing economic development into the town. It's I'm not going to try and go through a list of 20 priorities because you're not going to get them all done. What I've learned in my job is that you pick 2 or 3 things you want to get done, work down that list, and then you go after the next 3. So my big thing is to work with all the boards, introduce myself, start going to a lot more meetings, get familiar with the board chairs. Paul said nobody talks to each other, so it popped in my mind. So probably should have meetings with all the board chairs once in a while and see where everybody's at. You got a pocket over here that needs some help, and maybe that board over there can provide some help, that kind of thing, I'm just, I'm telling you, I've never done anything like this before. My only experience of working with people is running maintenance at a Millstone power plant, so be honest about that. But I want to work on relationships in the town and go from there, because if you have good relationships in the town, you can really move forward.
Very true. Very true. Paul, any last moment?
No, I
comment?
wish you good luck on your primary, and
Thanks,
maybe we'll
Paul.
see you back as a selectman
I'll
candidate.
be glad to come back.
And do you have anything else you want to say?
Just get out and vote. Being endorsed by the Republican
Get out and
Town
vote.
Committee.
I'll try to, that's right. I got to say, I am the endorsed.
Endorsed candidate of the
Republican.
Republican Town Committee.
And we covered that right at the very beginning
Yep.
of this
And I think it's,
broadcast today.
And Martin
So
McKinney is running for the 2nd seat.
Yep.
He's also
He's-
primary.
So
okay, this is not a commercial. This is not a commercial.
Yep.
So
I think,
when will the vote be, and where will it be? And remember, it's only for Republicans.
Republican, right. So,
Well, it's September 12th. Where it will be is, I'm not sure where that's going to be.
Town
Probably
Hall,
on
I
Town
believe.
Hall. I don't know if it'll be across the way for the other side or not. I know sometimes they do that, but just because it's Republicans, it'll probably be in the Town Hall. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm guessing, yeah. I think so. I was talking to the town clerk, and she was saying that the actually has not ever run a primary
Never had
in
one.
the town of Griswold that she can remember.
I can't remember one.
So it's interesting. It's kind of like untethered waters,
Yeah, making history. There
Yeah.
you go.
All right, guys. Wayne, thank you very much for coming on in today.
Thanks for having me, Mike and Paul.
No problem.
Rich.
Yeah,
Hey,
and,
thank
yeah,
you.
that's great too. Anyway, we'll be back Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yep.
We'll see ya.
Yep.